The movie begins in the city of Patna, India. Here, we are introduced to Madhav Jha, whose urgent strides lead him into a residence where he encounters a broker, who informs him about the departure of the lady of the house, Riya Samani. She is leaving the city and going away forever. Madhav looks around the house frantically and finds everything disheveled and turned upside down. The broker explains that since she broke the lease, she wants the broker to sell anything he wants to pay of the money. As Madhav is presented with a box containing Riya's personal effects for safekeeping, his poignant silence provokes the inquisitive broker to delve into their relationship dynamics, noting their absence of matrimonial ties. Tears glisten on Madhav's cheeks as he retrieves the box, departing without dignifying the broker's inquiry with a response. On his way back, in the train, Madhav sifts through Riya's possessions, stumbling upon a video featuring himself on her phone. He closes his tear-filled eyes, and we are taken 5 years back in time to St. Stephen's College, New Delhi. A young Madhav can be seen sitting in the principal office, undergoing an admission interview. The board interviewing him asks him to speak in English as the medium of instruction there is English. Turns out he is interviewing for a sports-based scholarship for his college admission, and where 50% of his admission chance depends on his sport capabilities, and the other 50 depends on this very interview. Midway through the interview, he seeks permission to revert to Hindi, a request met with bemusement but ultimately granted. In perfect Hindi, he explains how his mom runs a small school back in their village in Bihar, and he wants to know what are the reasons that his area is so backward and undeveloped. The jury then asks why is Bihar the way it is, and he responds that it wasn't always like this. The past few decades were tough on the area, but many people like his mom are working for the betterment of the future, and just like them he also wants to work so that no one could ever ask the question that why is Bihar the way it is. Though moved by his impassioned response, the jury's decision hinges on his linguistic proficiency, prompting Madhav to question the value of linguistic prowess over intellectual acumen. After leaving the office, Madhav calls his mom, informing her that he would not be able to get in because of his poor English, but his mom, always an optimistic person, encourages him to don't give up and keep going. Right then, Madhav sees a girl playing basketball, and as she scores a goal, his heart skips a beat. The girl is none other than Riya Samani. He sits down on the bleachers and watches her with full focus. As she approaches the sidelines to pick up her stuff, he compliments her in pathetic English and she looks at him with weird expressions on her face. Encouraged by his earnest admiration, Riya excels in subsequent trials, each victory celebrated by Madhav's unwavering support. After the trial, she thanks him and that is when her coach arrives, comments on her excellent performance and advises her to see Madhav play before going. She wishes him best of luck and leaves, but Madhav, motivated by her words, performs his best in the trials. As their paths intertwine, propelled by mutual encouragement, they embark on a journey where shared aspirations transcend linguistic barriers. The following day, anticipation brimming, Madhav returns to scrutinize the admission roster and finds Riya's name on it, but the surprise comes when he finds that he has also been admitted. Buoyed by this unexpected turn of events, he joyfully embraces his newfound academic journey, settling into his dormitory alongside his roommate, Shailesh Kumar. As the days pass, Madhav finds himself inexorably drawn to Riya, his affection deepening with each passing moment. Eager to capture her attention, he channels his energy into excelling on the field and even try to blend in her social circle by mirroring her preferences and demeanor. One day, while he is sitting around the court, waiting for his team to arrive, a pivotal encounter unfolds when Riya arrives and invites him to join her in a game on the court. Overwhelmed by elation, Madhav eagerly accepts, seizing the opportunity to showcase his skills, honed through meticulous observation of NBA legends. He tries and succeeds in impressing her. As she appreciates him in English, Madhav, though unable to grasp the language, finds solace in her words, likening them to a fragrant bouquet. Observing her effortlessly switch to Hindi during a conversation with her mother leaves Madhav astounded, prompting him to express his preference for Hindi communication, a sentiment reciprocated by Riya, evoking a radiant smile from Madhav. Their camaraderie blossoms further as Riya suggests a jaunt to the cafeteria, her company infusing Madhav's day with boundless joy. At the cafeteria, Madhav's friends are having their food, when they spot him coming in with Riya by his side. They watch them open-mouthed, and later at night tease him. But Shailesh is skeptical about this new friendship, because he thinks Riya is totally out of his league and she will use him. Undeterred, Madhav's other friends rally behind him, hailing him as a prince destined for greatness. But Shailesh presents an idea to test Riya. He suggests that he should ask Riya out on a date, and if she agrees this will mean she wants to be his girlfriend, or else they will know that he has no place in her life. Seizing an opportune moment during a basketball game, Madhav musters the courage to broach the subject of their relationship. And when she agrees that they could be like normal friends, he goes on and asks her to go watch a movie with him. Yet, Riya issues a challenge, score a goal from half court, and she would consent to accompany him. He agrees and keeps trying. Undeterred by the daunting task, Madhav persists long after Riya's departure, fueled by an unwavering determination. Later in the evening, Rhea sees him, still in the court, trying to score. She approaches him, a smile etched on her face, and after seeing his dedication, she agrees to go to the movies. He squeals in excitement that they are going out on a date, but she says that no, they are just hanging out as friends. But nothing can dim his happiness in this moment. Later at night, when Rhea gets home, she finds her parents fighting. As her father pushes her mom to the floor, Rhea's heart shatters into a million little pieces, consumed by sorrow. She goes to her room, seeking solace in her music. She pours her emotions into a soulful melody, tears mingling with each note. The next day, she picks him up for the movies. At the movies, where she is calm and composed, he is jittery with nerves. He tries to hold her hands, but she pulls them away. He looks at her, her eyes betraying a hidden sorrow swiftly concealed behind tinted glasses. As the movie begins, Madhav starts to panic because he paid for an English movie, but this one is dubbed, yet Rhea's infectious laughter serves as a balm, soothing his apprehensions. After the movie, they roam around the city having the best time of their lives. They sneak up to the top of India Gate, and that is when she confesses that whenever she feels like running away, she comes up here. But this revelation confuses Madhav that what could possibly cause trouble for a girl like her. At his innocent question, she tells him that she has a super messed up family, but doesn't need anyone's pity as she can handle her own problems. He laughs and comments that yes, he knows how she copes with her problems, by singing. At his comment, she shares her aspiration to perform on a New York stage, her dreams unfurling before Madhav like a tapestry woven with hope. But when asked about his dream, he comments that he wishes for a beautiful girl to sing for him. Their exchange, infused with laughter and shared aspirations, solidifies their connection, sealed with a playful fist bump. In a bold move days later, Madhav implores Rhea to share her gift with the world, as he drags her to a public place and begs her to sing. Resistant at first, she finally agrees. As her melodic voice captivates the gathered crowd, Rhea's radiant smile illuminates the night, emboldening their bond with newfound warmth. Subsequently, their companionship blossoms, and Rhea even starts spending more time with him. From sneaking out late at night to eat noodles, to singing together, each moment nurturing the affection between them. However, their friendship takes an unexpected turn one fateful night when Rhea kisses him before vanishing into the night, leaving him in a state of bewildered astonishment. A few days later, Madhav can be seen dressing up for Rhea's birthday party. His heart swells with the conviction that he holds a special place in her affections, a belief bolstered by the significance of meeting her parents. As he leaves, Shailesh hands him his own jacket, commenting that he should look his best, and wishes him luck. He takes the jacket, laughs, and leaves. As he arrives, he is greeted by the house help, who escorts him inside. Once inside, he finds Rhea, who looks like that she walked straight out of a fairy tale. He hands her her gift and wishes her a happy birthday. Turns out that he has gifted her a shawl, with her name inscribed on it. Happy at the present, she thanks him and takes him to meet her parents. She tries to introduce Madhav to her dad, but he ignores her, commenting that someone is waiting for her. At this moment, a boy along with his mother comes their way. Turns out the boy is Rohan, Rhea's childhood friend. As he wishes her and places a beautiful diamond necklace around her neck, silence falls upon Madhav. Seeing his expression darken, Rhea steps in and introduces him as her friend and basketball partner to the other three people standing there. They share greetings, but instead of engaging in any deep conversations, her dad takes Rohan and go for drinks. As they both are once again left alone, her mom arrives, and Rhea introduces her to Madhav. Mrs. Samani, unlike her husband, greets him happily. As the evening progresses, Madhav's discomfort reaches a crescendo, culminating in a candid confession to Rhea, bearing his insecurities about his place in her world, and that no matter how much he tries, he will never be able to fit into it. She tries to assure him that no matter what, nothing will change her, or how she feels for him. At this, Madhav raises a question that who is he to her, a basketball companion or something more? Because for him, she is more than just a friend. She is the first girl he kissed, his first love. In response, Rhea offers reassurance tinged with ambiguity, dubbing herself his half-girlfriend. Their intimate exchange is abruptly interrupted by Rohan's intervention, severing the moment and leaving Madhav adrift in a sea of uncertainty. Rohan announces to the guests that Rhea is going to sing for them all. Rhea, initially hesitant, takes center stage to serenade the guests. In her heart, the melody resonates as a silent dedication to Madhav, whose enraptured gaze is abruptly shattered by the intrusion of a waiter from his hometown. In a moment, he is surrounded by all the waiters, wanting to take pictures with him, because they all consider him a hero for his family's contribution in the betterment of their hometown. Mr. Samani and Rohan watch the scene unfold with curiosity. As Rhea's laughter mingles with the ambient joy, a rare smile graces Madhav's lips, momentarily casting aside his worries. After coming back from the party, he tells the story to his friends, eliciting jubilant reactions from all, save for Shailesh, whose stern rebuke punctuates the celebratory mood. Shailesh stops them all angrily, saying that the servants at the party made Madhav feel special, not the hosts. Undeterred by Shailesh's skepticism, Madhav attempts to dispel the negativity, only to be confronted with harsh realities regarding Rohan's affluent background and Mr. Samani's potential favoritism towards him. Madhav tries to stay in his delusional world. Clinging to the remnants of hope, Madhav shares Riya's ambiguous declaration of being his half-girlfriend, a notion swiftly dismissed by Shailesh as a mere ploy to manipulate his emotions. In a startling suggestion, Shailesh proposes a litmus test of Riya's true intentions, advocating for a drastic measure to ascertain her commitment, and that is to ask her to have sex with him. The other day, after playing basketball, Madhav offers Riya to take rest in his room until her next class. She agrees, and he brings her back to his room. She lies down on his bed, and after a few beats, he lies down next to her. He kisses her once, and when he tries to kiss her once again, she gets a bit uncomfortable, asks him to control himself and gets up to leave. But he holds her hands and tries to stop her. She asks him to leave her hands, but he tightens his grip and comments that this is not fair, that whenever she wants to kiss, it's okay, but when it's his want, she calls him uncontrolled. They both get in a fight, and in a fit of fury, he pushes her to the ground. As she hits the chair, the memories of her father, her mom, fills her mind, and she quickly gets up and leaves. Seeing her leave his room in a disheveled state, the boys from neighboring rooms start chanting Madhav's name, making her embarrassed. She leaves crying, and he watches her go with regret etched on his face. As days pass, Madhav's on-court performance falters, burdened by the weight of unresolved emotions and fractured trust. With the passage of time, he tries to contact her several times, but all in vain. One day, while in class, he finally gets her message to meet her at the India Gate. Happily, he rushes out of the class and reaches the location. There he is met not with reconciliation but with the stark reality of Riya's impending union with Rohan. As she leaves him clutching the wedding invitation, Madhav is left reeling, his heart hollowed by the sudden absence of emotion, a silent testament to the irreversible fracture of their bond. 2 years later, Madhav finds himself seated in an office, undergoing an interview, yet abruptly exits, leaving the jury bewildered. Upon returning back to his room, Shailesh probes him about his decision to reject the job. But all Madhav replies is that it is becoming difficult for him to live in this city. Packing his belongings, he embarks on a journey back to Patna. Back home, his mom welcomes him, and the people treat him like some hero. A year passes, marked by his mother's silent concern for his unresolved wanderlust. Desperate for answers, she finally confronts him one day, only to be met with silence. With a heavy heart, she turns away, but is stopped by the sound of Madhav's voice. Embracing her tightly, he poses a poignant question about the absence of girls in their school. The next day, determined to address the issue, Madhav accompanies his mother to meet with the minister, who states that the major reason for girls not going to school is the lack of washrooms, and even if they get educated, it would be of no use to them, because they will get married and will have to manage household after that. As she gets up to leave, he stops her and says that the person who can help them is Bill Gates. Confused, Madhav looks at him for explanation. He explains that Bill Gates has a foundation, named Bill and Melinda Foundation, which helps build schools in Bihar, and luckily, they are having a meeting on Monday with every school owner. Encouraged by the minister's suggestion to seek aid from Bill Gates Foundation, Madhav sets out on a mission to effect change. During the first interview, Madhav impresses the jury, who urge him to deliver a heartfelt speech in the presence of Mr. Gates, because the chances that he gives donation on spot are very high. Madhav gets really happy and excited at the thought of getting the grant, but his happiness fades when the jury advises him to deliver his speech in English, in front of Mr. Gates. Heartbroken and disappointed, he leaves the interview room, but fate has something else in store for him. He leaves only to collide with a figure from his past, Riya Samani. As she calls his name, his heart skips a beat. With Riya's smiling face still fresh in his memory, we are brought back in time to a sad Madhav sitting in the train. As the train stops at Delhi station, he gets off. In heavy rain, a despondent Madhav arrives at Riya's home, and is welcomed by her mother, who asks about Riya's whereabouts. As her eyes longingly search for her daughter, Madhav hands her the box filled with her belongings and a letter. As she reads the letter, written for Madhav, she breaks down into tears. Madhav, on the other hand, turns around to leave, but she runs after him and holds him from his collar, and demands to know about Riya's location. As heavy rain falls from the sky, Mrs. Samani falls to the ground, screaming that Riya can't perish. 1 month later, Madhav finds himself in New York, reunited with Shailesh, who has been residing there for the past 2 years, and it is the first time Madhav has visited him. Shailesh brings him to his house and introduces him to his wife, Ritvi, and learns of Madhav's internship opportunity secured through the collaboration between the Bill Gates Foundation and the United Nations. Shailesh, proud of his friend's success, inquires about the journey that led to this newfound achievement. We are once again taken 2 years back in time, to the moment when Madhav reunited with his one true love, Riya. Turns out that she is in Patna for work, and is staying in this same hotel where the interviews are being held. They both leave, with the promise of meeting soon. But Madhav's heart yearns for more time with her. Foregoing his scheduled bus, he rushes back inside and asks for Riya. Turns out she is out for a meeting, so he decides to wait. As the day turns into night, he keeps waiting. When she finally arrives, he pretends that he was not waiting for her and just got free from his own meeting. However, his ruse is swiftly dismantled by the inquisitive judges from earlier, who questions what is he doing here since morning. Rhea smiles and invites him for dinner. Over the course of their meal, Madhav unveils his aspirations to empower girls through education. But when he asks about her life and Rohan, she stops smiling. Turns out that she got divorced and is now living alone. Happy from inside, he pretends to be sad for her. After dinner, before going their separate ways, Rhea informs him that she is going to stay in Patna for the next couple of months, so if he ever visits again, they can meet up. But instead, he offers his help in finding a nice apartment for her. She thanks him, but says that she doesn't want to depend on anyone. But Madhav, being Madhav, proposes a mutually beneficial arrangement. Rhea aids him in perfecting his English for his final speech in front of Bill Gates, and he assists her in securing accommodations. Half-heartedly, Rhea agrees. Madhav finally succeeds in helping her find a house, helps her move in, and she keeps her side of the promise by helping him in his English. With their days together, they once again get close to each other, reigniting the love he had for her. As he practices his speech, she records him, and midway through his speech, he invites her to his village and she agrees. Back at his home, she introduces her to his mom as his friend and basketball partner. At dinner, the atmosphere gets tensed when his mom questions about her marriage and later comments that Rhea has a habit of leaving things midway. Either it is her studies or relationships. To lighten her mood, Madhav presents Rhea with a guitar, though her heartbreaking recounting of past trauma casts a shadow over the evening. She confessed that her dad used to beat her mom, but she stayed with him. But when Rohan hit Rhea after her marriage, she came back home, thinking that her mom would support her. But instead her mom advised her to save the marriage, no matter what. As tears flow down her face, she laughs and hands him his speech, saying that she is leaving for Patna the next morning and won't be present for his speech. The next day, Madhav and his mom come to drop her off at the station. When left alone with her, his mom requests her to leave her son alone and to never come back in his life. She boards the train, and as it drives away, Madhav requests her to come back for his speech, but she leaves telling him that he will be okay without her. He shouts after her that he is afraid of losing her, and at her words, her heart shatters. On the day of his momentous speech, he messages her asking her to come, but she doesn't respond. Yet, to his astonishment, she arrives to be his strength, standing as a silent pillar of support amidst the crowd. He gets on stage and starts his speech, but stops confused on what to say or not. He tries to read from the paper, but decides against it. Speaking from his heart, in broken English, he explains his thoughts and why he wants Bill Gates Foundation to help him. After his heart-touching speech, he gets the news he has been waiting so long for. He would be getting 5 million rupees for his school this year, and 1 million every year from the next year. Everyone shouts in excitement and begin gathering around him. But Madhav's gaze remains fixed on Rhea, whose tearful eyes convey a depth of emotion. As he breaks through the crowd to get to her, he is once again swarmed by the people of his village who drag him away from her. Finally, after a lot of struggles, when he gets free, he finds out that she has left, leaving a letter behind for him. As he reads it, his world crashes around him. Turns out that Rhea has a terminal disease and has only 3 months left to live. The only reason she accepted the job in Patna was to find him, because all of her happiest moments are associated with him. And now she is leaving because she knows that he won't let her fight this cancer alone, and she does not want to distract him from his dreams. Distraught, Madhav embarks on a desperate journey to find Rhea, only to be met with the cold reality of her departure. This is the scene from where the movie started, but now we know the reason why Madhav was so disturbed, and why Rhea's mom broke down in tears. The pieces of their tumultuous journey now fall into place, illuminating the depths of their connection and the heartbreaking truth behind their separation. Back in the present, at Shailash's place in New York, as Madhav ends his story, Ritvi gets up and holds him a tight embrace. Shailash, on the other hand, decides that Rhea's name won't be spoken in their house ever again, and to lighten up Madhav's mood, he suggests that they should go out and celebrate Madhav's success. Remembering Rhea's wish from 5 years ago, he suggests that they should go to a live singing bar. The next day, he begins his job, but doesn't stop his search for Rhea. His unresolved feelings for her continue to haunt him, leading him on a relentless search throughout the city's bars. He wanders around, only seeing Rhea's face in every singer. One day, when Shailash gets up in the morning, he finds Madhav passed out on a sofa, drunk. Ritvi recognizes his lingering attachment and presents a plan in the attempt to help him move forward. The next day, they take him to meet her friend Anshika. When left alone, she comments that Ritvi and Shailash are trying to set them up, but upon no reaction from him, she sighs and asks about his heartbreak, because only a broken heart can recognize the other. While chatting, they find out that where Madhav is poor in speaking English, Anshika is terrible at Hindi. They become friends on their language barriers and mutual heartbreak. Their hearty conversation is interrupted by a waiter, who recognizes Madhav from his earlier visits here and says that he asked around about Riya and he might have found her. Upon hearing her name, he rushes out of the bar, leaving everyone shocked. Shailesh runs after him, stopping him from going after Riya. They both end up fighting in the streets, and he slaps Madhav, saying that Riya would be deceased by now. But like a fanatic, Madhav runs to find Riya, his last conversation with his mom echoing in his mind, where he promised to keep looking for Riya till his last day. Upon reaching the location, his heart shatters upon not finding Riya, but seeing his state of mind, he is handed over to the police. Later, when Shailesh bails him out of the jail, he confides in Shailesh, acknowledging his inability to let go of Riya and his need for support in moving forward. Shailesh hugs him and promises to be there for him. With the passage of time and Shailesh's help, he starts living a normal life. He even apologizes to Anshika, and they bond quickly. 10 months later, on Christmas Eve, he finally completes his internship with Dion. But when offered a permanent job, he refuses, saying that India needs him. He later finds a surprise for him waiting at Shailesh's place to celebrate his success, all planned by Anshika. They play a video for him, filled with short messages from everyone important in his life. When Anshika's part comes, he smiles. However, fate intervenes once more when the surprise arranged by Anshika leads Madhav to discover a video containing a clue to Riya's whereabouts. Shailesh notices the shadows crossing his face, but says nothing. Madhav leaves the party and comes back to his room. Anshika follows him there and kisses him on the side of his mouth, but he stops her, asking about the girl who was in her background. With a sad smile, she tells him the location, and he rushes out, and this time not even Shailesh tries to stop him. Not being able to get a taxi and train because of Christmas Eve and heavy snowstorm, he decides to run towards her. Driven by determination and love, Madhav embarks on a perilous journey through a snowstorm, overcoming obstacles and ultimately getting to Riya. He finally reaches the bar, but is stopped right outside by the bouncer, yet he begs him to let him in. Finally in, he finds Riya singing with her eyes closed. But as her song ends, she finds Madhav standing in front of her. Their reunion is marked by an emotional embrace and a passionate kiss, symbolizing their enduring connection and the possibility of a new beginning. The movie concludes with Riya embracing her role in Madhav's mission to educate girls, highlighting their shared commitment to making a difference in their community, and the enduring power of love to overcome adversity.